What's up guys, back with another Groove Agent video. I thought while they're on a 50% off sale I'd go through some of the expansion packs for it that I've got. I've got probably over half of them that are available, so we'll start with these essentials ones. I only have 3 of the ones available. The funk one is definitely the best out of the ones I have for my uses. We'll start with maybe this Vintage Masterclass SE. Now each of these has 20 presets, 10 of them that use the SE kit and 10 of them that use the full kits if you have the full version of Groove Agent. So if we go to the pattern library here, this is the style player for it. I'll just set it somewhere there on one of these mains here, and maybe turn on a fill every 4 bars, and we'll just loop it through, see how it sounds. So you get the idea, that one's pretty funky. It's one of my favourites in here for sure. I'll load up the one in the full kit now. It should use the same pattern library, but we can mix and match. So let's check this one out. This one's in the vintage kit. Some of these are in the studio kit. I think this one is here. But say we like that pattern, we could turn this off and start loading some different presets here and keep the pattern intact. Just going to turn the fills back on. And you can even start pulling up a mix of presets or different kits from completely different libraries. Most of the Acoustic Agent kits are mapped the same. So yeah, basically these 3, they just add more styles and more mixer presets for the acoustic kits, the basic ones that come with Groove Agent. There are other ones for the Acoustic Agent that actually include full new kits like this one and this one, which we'll look at in a minute. But for now I think I'll just spend a couple minutes jumping through some presets here, and then we'll move on to those other kits. And while you're browsing these presets, it can be kind of cool to put this on. So the complexity changes after every fill. So every 4 bars it'll change. And I think if we set this to next measure, it'll change on the 1. See, you know, there's some pretty funky ones in the jazz and blues as well there. So yeah, you get the idea. It just kind of adds a lot more styles and stuff to the acoustic agent kits, which, you know, isn't a bad thing really. It gives you a bit more tools for inspiration, more MIDI files to kind of chop up and edit. So yeah, and more mixer presets for the kits there. So let's move on now to the ones that actually include kits of their own. So we'll take a look at, let's have a look at the Songwriters here. So we can load up something, you know, maybe this one. Again, we'll turn on the fills, change the complexity, move this somewhere here. And these ones are kind of the same deal as the kits in the full groove agent. You get a choice of 2 snares, a choice of 2 kicks, and then you get like all of the separate mics and stuff in the mixer here. So yeah, it's basically just an extra kit. But where things get interesting is, I don't know, let's try and find a preset that we like. Okay, I quite like the sound of that kit. Let's find a different pattern. And you know, we could then maybe try some of the Funk Essentials patterns here. Well, you know, you can go, but look for anything funk related in the library here. And then I think one of the differences with this kit as well is it also has settings that are played with rods. That one there's kind of cool. And then the other one of these that I have is Simon Phillips Studio Drums. Now this one's probably the most versatile. It's also the most expensive. But at 50% off, it might be a good time to pick it up if you've been thinking about it. It's pretty cool. So with this one, you don't get the cowbell and the other percussion stuff, but you get 4 octobands. Instead of 2 snares, you actually get 4. Four main snares, plus a piccolo and a popcorn snare. And then you've got more toms, and then a gong drum, and bigger variety of crashes. And then the other cool thing on this one is on the room and overheads here, you can actually independently control the tuning and envelopes of the drums being sent to it. And then also on the kick and snare, you have the trigger, so you can, you know, say add that, give it a bit more attack punch or whatever, and you can independently change the tuning and the envelope of the trigger, really tighten it up or whatever, just to get an attack. You know, you bring the level down a bit. So yeah, you know, let's have a quick look at some of the presets. And then the other cool thing is the styles in here are really good. Simon Phillips is a rock and roll Hall of Famer after all. So yeah, some of these grooves and stuff in the style player are really cool. And again, you know, we could mix and match using the Simon Phillips kit, but with other funk patterns. Another difference with this kit is instead of the bleed here for the snare bottom mic, you've got a resonance setting on every single kit piece, which is supposed to emulate picking up the rattling of the rest of the kit from hitting it. So that's kind of why it's so roomy and noisy. If you turn these down, it gets a lot tighter. And again, you know, we could use the Simon Phillips pattern with a different kit. Let's maybe try it with the Songwriter's one. Sometimes certain drums might not map up. So yeah, you get the idea. So those can be really kind of cool. I think, honestly, the Simon Phillips drums, I might just end up doing a video on that. I think it's worth its own video. It's pretty versatile, better than the Songwriter one here or the other kits, I think. So let's have a quick look then at some of the Beat Agent kits. So for drum and bass, Neuro mindset's pretty much essential. It kind of turns this thing into a powerhouse for making drum and bass drums, really. There's so many good kits in here. Let's start off with the very first one. Gonna up the tempo here to 170. And let's have a listen. Oh yeah, I didn't load in the pattern library. Here we go. So yeah, that one's pretty cool. Let's move on to a different one. And in these beat agent kits, you've got full control over all of the amp envelopes and slicing and resampling, decomposing the sample into like noise and tonal elements. So these kits are much more versatile. You can switch out the drum hits if you don't like one or two of them in the kit. So yeah, very classic tech step sounding. This one I think we touched on in an earlier video. And yeah, sometimes it seems to bug out like that and just keep playing stuff continuously. So the best way to deal with that is to just unload it from the instrument track and load it back in. Yeah, sometimes with the ones with loops in it'll do that. That's kind of weird. Let's have a look at some others here. So yeah, you know, there's all kinds of styles of drum and bass loops in this one. You know, this is probably my personal favourite out of all of the refills I have. Because, you know, in this full version you can just go in here and take out any of the samples you want gone. I think there was a bass loop in there somewhere as well. Where was it? Oh. So, you know, you can basically remove the elements you don't want, and you can layer up just the drums from one with the hook from another and kind of start building up a vibe quite quickly with this thing, which, you know, I'll probably show you quickly when we move on to some of the hip-hop centric ones, which are also, you know, the breaks in there can be resampled and used in drum and bass quite nicely. This acoustic selection kit of theirs is pretty good as well. Check out the Neuro ones. So, you know, you got a lot of cool patterns to work with and cool cool drum hits. And all of these drum hits just end up getting added to your library over here. So, you know, you can drag and drop them in as audio, or drag and drop them onto your own kits. Everything's just in this Neuro Mindset library, basically. I could just search for, you know, kick drum or whatever and just go through them that way. But, you know, with this new browser in Groove Agent 5 and SE5, you don't necessarily really need to do that. So let's have a look at a couple more of these and we'll move on to another one. So, you know, you got some pretty good starting points in this one alone. Let's have a look at these guys. You know, I've got so many kits for this thing that I haven't even gone through them all. You know, some halftime vibe there. And it's bugging out again. Get rid of that. It's really annoying when it does that. It only seems to do it when you're kind of jumping around through the presets a lot, it seems to be. Let's try it again here. Let's maybe move on to Colliding Worlds. Now this one's kind of a lot of world instruments and stuff. I tend to like this one more at halftime. So let's go to like 85. What's up with that? There we go. Okay. And let's see what we've got here. So yeah, really good for, you know, breakdown vibes and intro vibes, this stuff. Especially at halftime. You know, any of these kind of complex grooves can be applied to whatever drum hits you want to drop on these pads with these ones as well. So you're much less limited than with the acoustic agent. Another one I like working with at halftime is Metronomic Cinema. So we'll take a quick look at that and then move on to the two that I like to use with hip hop stuff. So let's have a look what we've got here. With these, I just tend to, use like the Tycos and stuff from them. I don't really use like the sample pads too much and stuff like that. I'll usually take those out. What else have we got here? Let's see. So yeah, this one would be good for kind of cinematic type vibes, but there's some cool stuff in there to use at halftime in drum and bass. Now, this one and Prime Cuts are both really good for hip hop. This one's more kind of trappy type beats, and this one's more kind of boom bap vibes. There's a bit of crossover, but we'll start with Future Electronica. And let's have a quick look at maybe this 808 kit. So yeah, if you like, kind of new school hip hop vibes or trap, those kind of gallopy type hi-hat patterns and stuff, the MIDI grooves here would be, good starting points for that style stuff. yeah, you get the idea. Very trappy. And then this one is my personal favourite out of the two. This one's kind of more, yeah, boom bap vibes. I like this one a lot. And you know, with this one, I'll kind of demonstrate how you can really quickly like build up a vibe. We could maybe try using, let's see, let's try this one. I'll turn global off here. Let's just put follow transport back on these two. So yeah, you know, mixing and matching stuff from different kits as well, you can really come up with kind of cool stuff quickly just from soloing different elements from one. You can like come up with ideas super fast with this thing. So yeah, you know, I hope that kind of you know, filled you in a little bit on kind of what's available with these. You know, these ones are basically, just think of them as expansions for the style player and the mixer presets for the acoustic kits. Then you've got ones that are a bit more expensive, like this one, the Simon Phillips ones. There's another one like this that's played with brushes called Jazz Drums, which I don't have. And then there's another couple like this, one for country, one for indie rock, I think, which I don't have. The ones that come included, you'll have with the SE version, you'll have the Studio SE kit here. You'll have in Cubase 10 the Kit SE, as well as the SE Beat Agent kits, and this is included in Cubase, the Alan Morgan, as is Production Grooves, the Pop Rock Toolbox, And in Cubase 10, these two are new for electronic kits in the Beat Agent. But yeah, that really covers the ones I have. There's a lot of different vibes there available. If I go into my full library now, I have nearly 800 preset kits for Groove Agent. So I've got a lot of stuff to work with, and like I said, there's really not much you can't do with drums. So of any kind of music really. I mean, we could go to like techno or whatever, and maybe try something like this to show you. Let's go to like 130-ish. Oh, yeah, let's turn those off. So yeah, you get the idea. Drum and bass, house music, techno, hip hop, whatever you need really, this thing's capable of. And then some of these can be really handy, and especially at 50% off, it's kind of a good time to pick them up. I think my personal favourites are definitely the Neuro Mindset, Prime Cuts, because again you can resample the breaks that were used for this and use them for drum and bass again later. And then I really like Colliding Worlds and Metronomic Cinema at halftime to kind of add taiko drums and cool stuff to intros and breakdowns. And then the Simon Phillips Studio Drums is just an awesome sounding kit. Great drumming styles in there. I wish I had the space really, or I'd probably buy the jazz one as well, but I'm kind of limited on my SSD for my VST sound libraries now. But yeah, that kind of wraps it up for another video, guys. I hope it was insightful, and if you're thinking about picking up any of those libraries in the sale, maybe that kind of opens your eyes a little bit to what's included. So yeah, there it is. I think maybe the next video I'll do will maybe look at Simon Phillips Studio Drums or the Beat Agent. Alright, see you next time, guys.